Welcome, beloved worship. This is the first of many videos that we're going to be doing. Today, we're going to be focusing on acoustic guitar and what the roles are for the acoustic guitar and whoever's leading worship. And today, we have Rich with us, and he's going to help walk us through some of those things. So, if you guys are ready, let's jump right in. Rich, how we doing, sir? It's good to see you.
I'm doing great, man.
Good,
always,
man.
always good to hang with you.
All right, brother. I love it, man. What are some of the roles and responsibilities that whoever's leading worship and playing acoustic guitar, what would be the things that they need to really focus on?
Yeah, yeah. I think at Beloved is a little different. I think because most of our acoustic players, well, all of them also lead.
Mm-hmm.
So I think strangely enough, the acoustic guitar needs to be second. Their primary goal is to lead the congregations, to help them engage in worship. So we don't need to go on to all the spiritual parts. We're talking about acoustics today, but I think their main goal is to not let their instrument be a distraction.
Gotcha.
So I think for them, it's going to be that consistency and timing and rhythm, staying with the click, with the band. And when you look at their instrument alone, it's to help the congregation feel the rhythm when there's not the drum beat, there's not something pushing that. It's a lot different than when you think of like campfire guitar,
Okay.
whereas like I've got all of this and I've got to keep it all going
Right.
all the time because I'm that person. You got a full band backing you up, so utilize them. Modern worship, the acoustic is way down in the mix. Your primary goal, worship.
Worship. I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, kind of like what you're talking about, which I kind of referenced it in this way, was like the idea that you're not hearing the definition of notes and chords within the acoustic guitar playing. It's more just the rhythmic texture that you're feeling with the acoustic guitar. So it's not as important to be so focused and defined on the chords you're playing as much as just carrying that rhythm and that intensity of the music, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's all about like sometimes like you will not be playing at all because this part's piano led. The rhythm is coming from the piano. The harmony is coming from the piano. There's really no need for you. Like some of my favorite times in worship is when it's just vocals. Like we all back out.
I agree.
I think there's something more powerful than me just sitting here like cranking 16th notes, like trying to move the spirit myself.
Yes.
I think knowing when that you can just hit a chord or not play anything and just worship. I think that's really what you need to focus on.
All right, so my next question would be how and when to play as an acoustic guitar worship leader. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I know I referenced that a minute ago, but I think when it comes to like how I play, at first I'm listening, like especially like in rehearsals or the song. At first I'm like listening for what the acoustic's doing in the song, and then at rehearsal I'm listening to what all the other band members are playing, so I'm not stepping on them. But also I think one thing that we don't really think about a lot, and what's really helped me in general when it comes to like playing rhythm guitar is listening to and thinking like a drummer. So a drummer's got kick and snare. That's part of their drum kit, and like say in a bar of 4/4/4, we have 4 beats. The kick's on 1 and 3, snares on 2 and 4. for basic beat, let's take that. And so I'm thinking like my bottom is the kick. And I'm thinking the top, that's my snare.
Okay.
So in a bar 4, I'm thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then if you apply that for 6, then in a bar of 6/8, we have kick on 1, snare on 4, typically for like a basic beat. So I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. So it just it helps you transition from 4/4 to 6/8 a lot easier if you think of it like a drummer.
Okay.
And so I think I still think like when it comes to like choosing when and how to play, it's staying within your skill level on your instrument and being consistent and keeping the timing the same.
Good point.
Because I mean, if you can't play it, play the ones. Like, just sit there and strum that chord, and like sing, lead, focus on that. Don't try to play some complicated rhythm. All you're gonna do is cause a distraction if you can't play it, and if you're good enough to play it, you may still cause a distraction.
Yeah, so question on to back that though, like the question I have is like, rhythmically, when you're thinking through that like a drummer, is that something like you naturally have, like you can do that without thinking anymore, or is that something that you're focusing on that drummer aspect of the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4? Is it just like,
I think as you practice with a metronome and think that way, it kind of gets just ingrained in your playing. Like, so you can think through it without actually having to count it out. You can focus on worshiping, and like I said, you play up to your ability. You don't ever try to play above that ability. You bring excellence by doing your best, practicing.
Absolutely.
And so I think you play up to that. If you can't play a complicated rhythm, let someone else cover it. Like you just play, like every time there's a chord change, play that chord. Let it ring. Let others do the fun stuff if you can't do it.
Yeah, and to reiterate what you said, I mean, I agree that your job first and foremost is to lead worship. So, yeah, you can let the guitar sit there and hands up and do your thing, right?
Yeah.
Just
I'm not Tommy Emmanuel over here. Yeah.
got it. Nice. Let me ask you questions about guitar techniques and when and how you choose those in times and songs.
Sure. I mentioned sitting out for sometimes our technique is just not playing.
Right.
But other times, I mean, it's letting sections breathe. So like, instead of, say like How He Loves, I'm not sitting here doing like the entire time. Like, that was, for one, it's going to get really old, and you might get hit with a drumstick if I'm playing drums. But like it's letting it breathe. Like, maybe the first verse I'm doing this while the piano's playing the part, and then just letting those chords ring and shine through. Maybe the electric's doing swells, but I'm just keeping the basic chords down. And then other times, like, say you get to the bridge of it and it starts building up, maybe I want to bring in palm muting.
Okay.
Just bring that palm down, and now I'm building through this section. I've got this kind of low intensity. It lets me get even lower if instead of this I've got. And so now, like, I'm building up through this, and so like I get to the heavier section, and I'm like, it lets
then you
me
open
have,
the chord back up.
Yeah, it lets me have so much more dynamic range.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
I think another thing that I was seeing a lot just through the years is slash chords.
Mm-hmm.
And I
those used to confuse me like crazy. Reggie had to beat that out of me a few times.
Yeah. And so, like, we see it like a G over B, and like, I mean, that's one of the easy ones. And like, if I'm just playing by myself, I'm probably going to hit it. I'll be honest. Like, but there's my G. That's my G. That's my G over B.
So you just dropped your low note.
I just seriously don't play the low string.
I didn't really hear much of a difference there.
Exactly. And so imagine me doing that here by myself, just acoustic, and there's very little difference. Imagine with a bassist and keyboard are hitting those notes. are they going to hear me play the G over B? Like,
not a chance.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a chance.
So, I mean, I can just play the G, let the bass, let the keys cover that. They're going to hear it a lot more anyway than if I did it, and it's easier for me to just keep focusing on leading the worship. So
right. So you're just saying that anytime you see like a slash chord as an acoustic guitar player, you just ignore anything after the slash because we have other instruments that are taking up that real estate.
It's just another thing to think about that you don't need to worry about.
Right. So just free yourself from that burden and just push forward leading. Right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Like it.
Yeah.
All right. So about in-ears. Proper use of in-ears, and I know there's been a few concerns about you're not getting proper tone from your acoustic guitar in your in-ear, and the mix doesn't sound good to you. Do you have anything to say about that or address with that?
Well, first of all, your in-ears they're never going to sound like the mix out in
Why
the
not?
Well, you got little tiny ears, and you're not mixing the same way. Like, I mean, if you want them to sound the same, we'll pump the click out into the crowd.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah. So I think the thing there to remember is that your guitar is, no matter how expensive, how nice, how full tone it sounds, we really don't need all of that when we have all these other instruments that need that space. There's only so much space, and I'm actually my wonderful drawing. So these aren't even all the instruments we have on a Sunday. It's just kind of the bare bones. So like kick, bass, keys, electric guitar, acoustic guitar, vocals, and like we're all fighting from this human hearing spectrum from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Most of this low end, if we start stacking so much stuff, it's going to sound muddy, and then we have. And that's just in the low end. Now we go up the high end.
Yeah, you have all these covering the same real estate.
Yeah, and that's not even everything. So like we really have to, as sound people, we have to carve out that real estate for your instrument. So by the time we get to acoustic in modern worship, it's going to be down in the mix, and it's going to be very percussive.
Yeah.
Like, even though I've got all this nice low end here, a lot of what you're going to be hearing is the
strumming.
Yeah, the
right.
strumming. So I think the thing to remember there is what you hear in your ears is it has to be representative of what's coming through the sound because it's going through EQ. However, it's going to fit in the house mix better and it's going to fit in your ears.
Right.
So.
Okay, yeah. So like in my mind, it's like, like when I do my in-ear mix as well, which I thought it'd be a fun project to actually like go through everyone's different in-ear mixes one time and just hear what they hear.
Yeah.
Like I know like I will boost my instrument specifically, like I would assume acoustic guitar player does, just to make sure that you're on timing with your strumming and you're getting the right chords and just make sure you're not screwing up your little part.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I was joking last Sunday because I had my headphones sitting on the hi-hat stand, and it seemed like you could hear the click all the way in the back of the room because the click's always the loudest in my ears.
As it should be.
Yeah. And so just remember that what's in your ears is not representative of what's in the house totally, and it may not be what you want it to sound like because that is not necessarily aligned with what the congregation needs to hear from your instrument.
Well, Rich, that all being said, I appreciate your time and everything. And like I've said before, I mean, the main reason why we're trying to do this is the idea of iron sharpens iron. And we're just trying to utilize skill sets that we have within our own group to help improve each other. And like I said, I just want to thank you for your time and using that and your abilities to help us. And I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I'm definitely not the expert
No, that's all right.
for the acoustic role, but I've done it for a long time, and anything I can do that can help, I want to offer. So if anybody has any questions or wants to talk about things, or has different opinions.
Yeah.
I want to hear them because I think we're always learning. So.
I agree. Well, like it. Thank you so much again. Lev, thank you for bearing with us, and hopefully you learned something, and there'll be many more videos to come. So thank you very much.